Hello, everyone.
Hey everyone.
It's been a while since our last update, and some of you may or may not know we are parents.
Yes.
And I think Emily wants to share a little bit about her birth story and the lead up to the birth of little Sienna, whom you'll meet later. So,
Yes.
yeah, how has it been, Emily?
Yes, very good, very good. It was obviously a big event that I had been preparing for as well as I could. Then I realized that you're never prepared for that. So Sienna arrived a little bit late. She arrived at 41 week and 1 day, which is apparently the average for a first time mom. But it seemed like forever. Like honestly, since 37 weeks, I was prepared. Like I was like, all right, I have my bag ready. Even before that, because they say you're full term or whatever at 37 weeks. So I was like ready to go. And as every week was passing by, then I was on leave at 38 weeks something.
And your mom came quite early, and
yes,
38 weeks, I think.
38 weeks something as well. So I was ready, but at the same time, I was just like, and every time I was seeing my doctor at 37, 38 weeks, nothing showed that, she was ready to come out. Like she was not engaged in the birth canal. I was not dilated at all. So I was just like, okay. My doctor was like, she's going to be overturned. Like, it's pretty obvious. And I just didn't, I don't know. I wanted to believe that it might not be true. But then, so I started doing, when I passed the 40 weeks mark, I started basically doing steps towards, because I was scared of getting an induction.
Yeah, I think we'll go back a few steps because there were a few things that you actually did prior to 37 weeks.
Yes.
I think you used the Epino.
Epino.
And even your hypnobirthing tracks, because I think the goal for us was, for Emily really, is not to go on epidural, to go drug free.
Mm-hmm.
No C-section, minimal interventions.
The goal was a natural birth without any pain relief. The only pain relief that I was allowing myself was gas and air, if available. And for the rest, so painkiller free. And then obviously we did a birth plan, and one of my most important thing was I didn't want an episiotomy, which is very common here in Singapore. I read
What's the rate?
So 95% of women who give birth by the vagina have an episiotomy. An episiotomy is a cut through. So basically, it cuts the perineum, which is perineum, which is the skin in between your anus and your vagina. So just do a little cut to help the baby come out. In other countries, in Canada, Australia, America, it's not frequent. It's only done.
Okay, Sienna.
Somebody wants to be in there.
There we go. There we go. There she is. It's always a big drama.
Aww.
Okay.
So yes.
So yeah. So
suit herself.
Yeah.
So So I did not want an episiotomy. So what I did to go towards that, I trained my perineum to extend a little bit. So I used this thing called an Epino. I ordered it from Australia.
How do you spell it?
Epi, E-P-I, and then dash and O.
N-O.
Not an episiotomy, basically.
Yep.
So I trained myself every single night. Like I was doing improvement. Like I was marking my measurements, and every night I was getting better.
So it's a little inflatable balloon that kind of expands the cavity, and I think there's a ruler that you kind of measure and track your progress.
Yes. So every night I was getting better and better and better. So I did that from 37 weeks to basically almost delivery. So even though I did it from 34 weeks, I think, because they need to do it about 2 or 3 weeks before your full term. So I was really, really trying. So that was one. I prepared. I did hypnobirthing tracks. So every single night I was listening to affirmations through that I got in my prenatal courses. So
and I think we were also chatting about visualizing the perfect birth, and really, having the image of and the picture of what was going to happen, how Sienna was just going to
flow down. And they say in hypnobirthing, they're like, you breathe down your baby. And I tried to read the book, but to be honest, it's very boring. It's written in funny ways, so I was just like, ugh. But then I was listening to all my tracks, trying to do the relaxation, and I prepared myself the best I could for that. I was not too. I had many stressful parts in my pregnancy that I put upon myself that I stressed about, but I was not stressed about the delivery. I think that's what the hypnobirthing did for me. It helped me look forward to the delivery, even though it can,
it's intense. It's going to be intense.
I knew it was going to be intense, but they tell you breathe down, they tell you to birth in ecstasy, and so that's what they say on the tracks. So basically, at 40 weeks, I started doing things because I wanted to avoid to be induced. Here, they induce at 42 weeks, almost automatically. So I was trying not to be induced because when you're induced, usually it's hard to go without pain relief because the contractions are too intense all of a sudden. As nature is well done, it goes slowly.
They kind of built and it gradually
builds up, but with
progresses.
Pitocin, it goes bang. And it starts with a bang, and that's it. So it's very hard. I'm sure it's been done, but it's very, very hard to stick to a no-drug birth. So I went for reflexology in my 40th week, and I didn't feel. Well, it felt like she was moving a lot, and there was something happening while I was getting the massage. Didn't do anything on that night, and then I went to a TCM doctor, and I got acupuncture. So that I got on the Saturday of the 40th week, and my doctor appointment was then on the next Monday. And then I had thought about it, and I asked my doctor to do a membrane sweep. So that's basically her putting her hand in my cervix. So she told me I was dilated 1 centimeter, but I was not fully effaced. So she said, I'm gonna give you a membrane sweep, but it's not gonna do much because you're not fully effaced. So I was like, okay. So basically she went and put her finger through the 1 centimeter that was dilated in my cervix and kind of did like a sweep. And it's basically, I believe it is to take the water bag and just to separate it a little bit from the cervix, and that makes your body produce, I think it's prostaglandin or something like that, which will get the labor started. So it just made me bleed quite a bit, and I was just like, but I was starting to have a little bit of cramps, but I was just, my doula was telling me, like, you might want to go and see your doctor later in the week to do a second sweep. And I had friends as well who had sweeps, so I had to have 2 or 3 sweeps before they went into labor. So I was like, all right, I was prepared to see, and I was prepared to go again for acupuncture. In the night from Monday to Tuesday, so I woke up in about 2 or 3 o'clock at night, and I was having Braxton Hicks contractions. So that's the practice contractions, but they were very timed, and they were a little more intense. They were not intense, but I felt them a little more than the previous Braxton Hicks contraction that I had been having since the middle of my pregnancy. So I was like, and I was timing them, and they were like every 5 or 6 minutes, which was a lot. So I was like, that might be some kind of like, I don't know. I thought it might be the response to the sweep that I had yesterday, or that I was probably in pre-labor. So I was like, okay, that's good. I texted my doula, and she responded right away, and it was like 3 at night. And she says, okay, just rest. Can you sleep? And I was like, yeah, I can rest. So she's like, just rest, and just tell me when they get more intense. So I went back to bed, and then I got waken up 2 or 3 hours later, and now I was starting to feel contraction. Like, it was contractions. I could feel them in my back and in my glutes. It's kind of funny. And then so I knew it was not Braxton Hicks anymore. It was contractions. It was not painful, but it was more intense. So I texted her. And she says, okay, yes. She's like, okay, just see it building up. So an hour later, I said, yeah, it's building up. So she was like, I'm coming. I said, look, they just told me every 20 minutes, so I'm not sure. She's like, okay, just tell me if they get closer. So eventually, yes, they got closer. They were quite intense, but I was building up in the morning. So I had a normal breakfast, because I was telling myself, if I go in labor today, I'm not going to be able to eat anymore. So I had a breakfast.
And I remember you told me, I think, to clear my schedule.
Yeah, I was like, because you were like, oh, I have a. So I was like, yeah, do your interview in the morning. Probably in the afternoon, I kind of feel like something is happening.
Yeah.
So, but I was still very calm. So I was like, okay, cool. Again, it started building up a bit more, and but it was still. Sometimes they were every 5 minutes, every 5 to 10 minutes, but would be really short. And when they were every 20 minutes, then they would last 1 minute. It was just very erratic, and they were not timed, but they were getting pretty intense. So I told my doula was always like asking me how I was. I said, look, it's getting pretty intense at some point. But she's like, okay, I'm coming just to observe you. So she came and she told me she didn't want me to get excited as well. She was like, look, it can only be a false alarm, pre-labor. It can only be a response of your body to the sweep. And that, my mom was like, nah. My mom was like, no, she's in labor. she just had observed me, and she was like, yeah. So while the doula was here, I was complaining at the beginning. I was like, oh, they're too erratic. They're not timed. It's going to take forever, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I'm getting too much break in between. And she's like, oh, yeah, you're going to love that break later. And then while she was there, it started building up. And then it started being a lot more timed. So it just built up. As I said previously, and nature does its job pretty well. The contractions just build up. They get closer from each other. They get more intense, slowly. At some point, I felt like I was having contractions like all the time. There was no more, like, I felt like one was finishing and then there was another one. But it just came like, I don't know, it just built up. At some point, Luke was ready, was not doing his work anymore. I'd cleaned up his schedule, so he came to help us because I was laboring still at home.
Yeah, luckily I was just downstairs doing the interview. So I came upstairs and got my own bag packed and everything ready to go.
So because my bag was already ready, so we had a list of things that needed to be added, and then so ready to go. And every time Luke was asking like, are we going to the hospital, to the doula? Okay, are we going now to the hospital? Because I was in pain.
I think it was 3 It was, I think the peak of it was 3 p.m.
3 p.m. started like
and I've never seen Emily in so much pain before. And she says that she was prepared for it, and having run a 100K race, she thought she would be prepared, but no way.
No. Give me 100K every day for
she's gonna run 200 after this.
And easy. No. It's just it's different. It's another story. Started building up. It was just. I remember at some point. It's a bit blurry. I remember at some point I had the bloody shows, so my mucus plug started coming out. So we knew we were getting there. And then, I remember I spent a lot of time on the toilet. So
And for me, I think I was extremely stressed because I wasn't sure whether the baby was in stress, whether Sienna was in stress at all. And I was always asking the doula, should we go now? Because I was afraid that, let's say, if there was any issues, at least we were in the hospital. Yeah. But the doulas knew exactly when and where it was. And she was like, no, not yet. We need to...
Basically, she was tricking me because she knew that I was in such pain and I was in such a vulnerable spot mentally that if I would have been offered an epidural, I would have taken it. And I can say yes. No matter how decided I was on my birth plan and everything, I would have said, no worries, yes, please. And I would have begged for it. So she knew it. That's something as well. Because I was so in pain, I could not concentrate like I had been during my pregnancy. I could not concentrate on my baby's movements inside of me. And that made me panic. I was like, oh, I don't know how she's doing. I was just asking. And if we're going to do it again, I would hire a Doppler from the hospital, so we can at least monitor the heartbeat while I'm laboring. So that could have calmed me down a little bit because I was just thinking of her, even though I was in pain because I was doing that for her, So I kind of was looking forward at some point to go to the hospital, but then I was thinking of the drive. So when we finally got at the point that my doula thought we're ready to go.
And it was pouring.
Yeah, it was pouring rain. It was peak hour traffic.
Yeah, my mum rushed back, and she was obviously stressed but calm.
Yeah, she was actually, I was quite
very,
impressed.
very calm.
Very impressed.
We waited for quite a while, and she was just around the corner. I was like, Mum, are you here? I'm just standing in right now. I'm almost there. And I called her literally every 5 minutes. Mum, how close are you?
Yeah.
And I was just getting extremely stressed.
Yeah, but the thing is, the doula was still, she knew exactly, she looked at the signs on me, and she knew exactly.
Apparently, she told me that after the whole pregnancy, she told me that she knew exactly that we had time, because she was looking apparently at the back of the spine. Mm-hmm. There's meant to be a purple line. If a purple line reaches a specific point, all the way up, it means that the baby's ready to be delivered, ready to come out. But where Emily's line was, it was kind of halfway. So we had at least an hour more. So she knew exactly.
It was perfectly. So it was really hard just going downstairs, because we're on the top floor here. Just walking downstairs, I probably had like 2 contractions. And then waiting downstairs, I was just like in pain. It was just every single task was just tough, because I was always getting contractions. So we went in the car, and the drive was pretty smooth, but at some point we got kind of in a jam on the road that is of the hospital. So not that far, but it was like so close, but so far. Mm. So finally we arrived at the hospital, and my doula was telling Luke, get the wheelchair ready. So I was like, I knew I was pretty close to the pushing state, because that she had told me that before. She usually gets moms to walk to the delivery room, because it speeds up the process. But she's like, if we're very, very close, I ask for the wheelchair. Yeah. So I knew I was really close. And she pushed me into the delivery room, my doula, and there was this man. I just remember this man that directed us towards the proper delivery room was just talking to me. He was like, breathe in, breathe out. And my doula was like, shut up, like, you're not helping, dude. And I was just like, ah. So they took me to the delivery room. They told me the doctor's coming, basically. So my doula was like, it's great news. It means that you're basically close to the pushing state. They did a vaginal exam on me to show how dilated, to see how dilated I was, and I was almost 9 centimeters, and 10 centimeters being fully dilated, baby ready to come out. So I was like, wow. I was very impressed, because it was only a few hours of work, and I had gotten dilated so quickly. So that at least, like, perked me, because I was like, if I was going to the hospital and being told after those hours that I was only like 5 or 6 centimeters, I think I would have asked for the epidural right away and be like, I am not working for that many hours again. So as well, they put the heart monitor on me for the baby, and that just really calmed me down to hear that her heart was beating right, and I was just like, at least I know. But then that's it. So the doctor came in, and I was already starting to really feel like pushing, which I had been feeling like pushing since being at home. So I was getting pushing urges. Apparently it was my body just dilating more, and it was helping my cervix to dilate some more. So I had been pushing for a while, but now I needed to push the baby out. And yeah, so I think the most painful part was past. I think being at home was the most intense. But pushing was really different, because you need to learn how to push properly, which is, I have major respect for women who get epidural, because you need to feel it. And I hear that's what's the problem usually with women with epidural, have trouble pushing correctly.
Directing the force to the right area.
Because even feeling it, sometimes I would just like push with my face, like,
and your whole upper body would tense up, and the doctor was always saying, to use that force, and your upper body should be relaxed to actually push. Yeah,
she was like, how you're scrunching up your face, use that force to just push like down your vagina, as if you're like, and it's as if you're pooing, and you're pooing as well. Newsflash.
Yeah, newsflash.
It happens as well. Well, for me it did. So it was just like, every time I was disappointed, because I was like, at some point they were like, the head is there, but I would be looking forward the next contractions, because I knew I would get to push again. But then she would not completely get it, and I was just like, it was just getting a bit like, I'm not never gonna get it, and I was so hot. And at some point, they were making me take oxygen because she was starting to be a bit distressed. So they were making me breathe oxygen.
And every time she took a breath of oxygen, her heart rate actually increased.
Increased back to normal.
Yeah, I think the doctor wanted to keep her heart rate above 100 and
140.
Above 140, and then at some point it dropped to about 90, and it was like, all right, we need more oxygen.
Yeah, so they were giving me oxygen for a little while every time I was in between contractions. And at some point, we were very close. She was like, you're one good push away from getting the baby out. But she's like, her head keeps on hitting. So my doctor was like, very calmly, because she knew my birth plan, she says, her head keeps on hitting on your perineum. If we give you an episiotomy, she will be out right away. And she needs to be out because she's in distress.
And I think this was at the point where I was thinking to myself, because we went together for the hypnobirthing course, and it's about the position of how the cervix is, because if you're lying with stirrups, your cervix goes up. It's like a C that goes up, so the baby doesn't have a clear path. So that's why you need to make this incision so that the baby can come through. At the back of my mind, I was just thinking maybe she should get on all fours or maybe be in a squat position, but I wasn't sure and I wasn't confident, and I wasn't sure whether the doctor was going to allow us to for us to shift into all fours squat position and put
I was not thinking. I was just doing what my doctor was telling me.
But just food for thought. I mean, your position definitely does help because of the way the birth canal is. If you're in squatting position, if you can squat on all fours.
So at the beginning, I started on my side, and then she put me on my back. She felt it was better like that. It was probably more comfortable for her. So at some point, I was like, I didn't even think. I was like, yeah, of course. So right away, so that's the only bit of pain relief I got. They gave me a little, basically local anesthetic to freeze my vagina, and yeah, so she did the little cut. And then at the next push, I pushed her out. Bing. But what I didn't know and what I knew right after is that she had shot herself. So because she was an overdue baby, she was really close to have her first bowel movement, which is called meconium. And she did it while she was a bit in distress while I was pushing. So that's why my doctor was like, we need her out now. And what happened is she breathed a little bit of it and swallowed a little bit of it. So that can be a bit dangerous. Cool. So right away, they put her on me. So I had some skin to skin. And then they pulled her out, pulled out all the meconium. At the beginning, she had a little bit of trouble breathing. They put a little bit of oxygen, but then
they shoved the tube down her nose and her mouth.
Just to
suck all the
meconium. She was full of meconium as well on herself. Our hands were full of meconiums. Meconium is quite gross, but at the same time, yeah. So put her a bit on oxygen, but very quickly she was because her lungs are fully developed and all good. Very quickly she was saturating oxygen at 100%, so that was good. But I was still very worried. My body was in shock. So at the same time, it's like I was shivering, and my doctor was giving me basically was sewing me back, and yeah, at the same time I was like, is she okay? Is she okay? She was still, I get it. She's fine. Waited for the pediatrician. Pediatrician was like, she's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was still quite stressful to see your little baby having like tubes being but yeah, she quickly. And then that night she was, so it was 8:45 when she was pushed out. And
all up, we went hospital for about
1 hour 45.
1 hour 45. So everything was perfectly timed. Thank you, Chujin.
Yeah, she was absolutely a master.
Yeah,
she's a master in what she does. She knows exactly.
Yeah, she was amazing.
So if ever you are in Singapore and you're looking for a good doula, just send us a private message and we can recommend
recommend her to you.
Absolutely amazing. If you're looking for a natural birth, she will help you for sure get that goal. I would not have been able to do it without her.
I mean, all the courses and all the knowledge that I had doing the hypnobirthing class, when it came down to crunch time, all that just kind of faded away because, I was just worried for Emily, and I just wanted her, I didn't want her to be in pain. But I mean, if I'm so glad that Chujin was there, and if she wasn't, it'll probably be a very different scenario.
Yeah, I probably would have had an epidural, very much so, if I didn't have her. And I know plenty. 90% of women who give birth here through the vagina get an epidural. So I mean, there are risks associated with it, but they're very little. But still, it was what I wanted to achieve, a drug-free birth, and I got it, and it's very empowering when you think about it, what you've achieved, and as I said, it will make me a better ultra runner because now I know what real pain is.
Sure.
So I've pushed through it. Obviously, there's a great outcome as well. So yeah, so that was my birth story.
And I think we're gonna have part 2, which is
we're gonna talk about the postpartum part and how I'm handling everything.
Perfect. So before we say goodbye, we'll just introduce you to this little bundle of joy in our life. She's kind of settled in my arms right now and looking into my eyes. So the world meet little Sienna. Sienna, hello.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
Looks like a little monkey.
She does. Like the ones that we see at McRitchie.
Yeah, little monkey.
Don't tell her that. But you do. But, well, hopefully we'll see you next time. Well, hopefully we will.
Yes, we will.
We will. Well, bye.